Hey guys, good morning again. I thought I would make another video. This time I thought I would talk about my love for traveling and how sort of like how that started, uh, where like future places I would like to travel. But yeah, I thought I would talk about my love for traveling. My love for traveling sort of has really expanded uh, over the past couple of years. Over the past couple of years, I've gotten to like it's a huge hobby of mine and a huge passion of mine to go on road trips with me and my friends. Because whenever you go like on a trip, it's a lot more fun to take friends with you. So me and a couple of friends, I've road tripped to Chicago, Nashville, Wisconsin, Iowa. Um, well, really, that's it. But I've been to Chicago on multiple occasions because that's always like really fun to go to. But I love traveling and seeing new places. Eventually, I'd like to travel outside the country and like do this, that, and the other. But traveling, huge passion of mine. So I thought I would talk about that today. So my love for traveling sort of began in high school. Because whenever I was a kid, I had never traveled anywhere. I grew up in a foster home and I never traveled. I never got to travel anywhere. I'd never really been outside my local state or even the local vicinity for that matter. Very sheltered, a very like prisoner-esque type of life, and I hated it. Like I always like growing up, I always told myself that I was going to see the world someday. Like I just wanted to. I grew up in a small town too, and I hated it. I hated that town. Still do to this day. Um, so growing up, it was always like a dream of mine to sort of go out there and see things. And in high school, I started watching a lot of YouTube. I don't know what year that was. Probably like 2014 or 13 or whatever it was. And I started researching all these different places. I started watching, I started getting into Japanese culture too, because like whenever I was in high school, I would watch all these Japanese like J vloggers. I don't know why they're called J vloggers. They're people who live in Japan and sort of vlog their day to day life in Japan. Like I was fascinated by that. It's a huge dream of mine to go to Japan. I'd like to visit Tokyo, Kyoto, and a couple of other places that I can't remember the names of in Japan. But I was in love with like the idea of traveling to another country and like visiting a place like Japan. I'd like to visit some of the shrines and sort of like the old classical Japan. I was in love with the idea of traveling somewhere far away. And growing up, like as I got older, I was like 18 whenever I became homeless, and I went through that dark phase where homelessness. I've made videos about my homelessness. It was a very dark time of my life. But when I came out of it, like maybe like a year after I was no longer homeless, I started, I was working a stable job, and I wasn't getting paid a whole lot because I was working at a fast food place, but it paid. Um, and I had my own car, so it occurred to me that I could start going on road trips to places because I could start. I was living in my own apartment, which is the apartment I live in now, and it occurred to me, hold on, I can start going on road trips if I wanted to. And it came up in a conversation with a friend I had. Me and my friend, we'd just gotten off work, and we were talking like sort of like, and haha, wouldn't it be funny if we traveled to Nashville or something? Because, well, for separate reasons. And it started off as a joke, and then we were like, hold on, we could actually do this. So my first road trip that I ever took was with me and like two of my closest friends, and it was like the best like the best first trip experience ever. I drove from Illinois to Nashville, and it was like 8 or 7 hours, and it was It was super fun. I could make a whole video talking about that trip. It was amazing. Love Nashville. Would love to go back. So that was my first experience traveling, and I knew the first time I did it that I had to do it again. And so the next time we went to Chicago, I believe it was, and then Wisconsin, and then a couple of other places. So traveling is also like it's more fun when you have friends, because like I've been on a couple of trips by myself, and it's just not a whole lot of fun. Like traveling for me, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta have a partner. I gotta at least have like one or two people with me to really enjoy it thoroughly, because it's no fun to see all these amazing places and like not have anyone to sort of bounce ideas off or to sort of share the experience with. Some of the things I like to do whenever I travel is I like to take photos. I'm kind of an amateur photographer. I could make a video on that too. My photography hobby, I guess. I don't know. I was actually trained by a professional photographer whenever I was in college, who was also my professor. Great guy. I have a lot of respect for that guy. That's another story for another time. So photography, that's a passion of mine. Art museums, whenever I can, I like to visit an art museum. Whenever I was in high school, I was hugely into art. I'm still fascinated by it, but I just don't really do it anymore. I used to paint a lot, but I don't really paint anymore. I still have some of my old paintings over there in my closet, though, from high school. I was kind of an abstractist, not really a realist. I'm not good at drawing anything real. So museums, those always fascinated me. So yeah, trips, adventure. I just love going to new places. And really, I was going to make a video talking about how coronavirus has really affected me, but to be honest, coronavirus hasn't really affected me at all, except for the fact that I can't really travel anymore, and that's really the only way it's affected me. And I hate it. Coronavirus sucks because you can't go anywhere anymore. Most of the places are closed, or you gotta wear masks, and it just ruins. Coronavirus ruined everything. Like whenever coronavirus hit, like last year in 2020, whenever it started picking up and it became a thing, me and like some of my friends had like 5 trips planned, and we had to cancel all of them. All of them got canceled because of coronavirus, and it sucked. We were going to go to all these places. We were gonna have a great time. We were gonna make some memories, and it was gonna be amazing. And the coronavirus ruined it, and I'll never forgive coronavirus for that. I'm still pretty salty about that. So future trips. Now coming up later this year in 2021, I actually have plans to go on a trip to Mexico. Because I'm going to visit my birth family that lives in Mexico, which is crazy. Another crazy story that I have to make another video on is about earlier last year. So like I said before, I grew up in a foster home. I was adopted. I never knew my actual parents at all growing up. I had memories of them, but I was like a baby, and they were kind of fuzzy. But earlier last year, I was searching for my birth parents, and I actually found my birth father. I won't go into the details. I can make another video about that. But I found my birth father, and then I found my uncle and his family. And I'm actually going to be traveling with my cousins, who, crazy enough, actually lived in the same town as me. Like growing up, I never knew my birth family at all. Like the foster family that took me in, they would never tell me anything, and no matter how much I asked, like I mentioned that they weren't nice people, and they were mean people, and they would never tell me anything, and so I had to figure it all out myself. Long story, I can talk about that in another video, but basically, to make a long story short, my uncle is building a house in Mexico, and he's invited me to come along with his family to visit my extended family that lives in Mexico, like my other aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, and people that I've always wanted to meet. And so I'm going to be going on a trip to Mexico there to meet my family, which is crazy because growing up, I never really had a family, and so now that I do, it's, it feels weird. It's crazy. So yeah, that's why I like to travel. I got a couple more trips that I would like to do sometime this year. I don't know if I'll actually do them though, just because of coronavirus. But who knows? But if I do, I'll definitely try and make a video on the Mexico trip. I don't know when I'm gonna do that though. I'm thinking sometime in June or July. But I don't know. So yeah, that's my passion for traveling. I definitely wouldn't be who I am now if I hadn't have been on all the trips that I've been on and seen all the things that I've seen. So that's definitely a huge part of me, and it's definitely part of what makes me me. Like I'm so glad that I got into traveling. I definitely wouldn't be who I am without it. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.